That what this means is that strangers care. And if strangers care about me and my family, I decided what I was gonna do is I was gonna care about strangers. And that completely changed my life. I did my first one when I was 17. So I got one of my buddy's old vans, so I need a little room, put all the groceries in, and I drove to this house. And it was not what I expected, it was more. I got to this house and I got 2 bags of groceries and I banged on the door. Door opened and this woman about this tall, right, stares up at me like this, right? And I said, hi. And it was very obvious she didn't speak any English, and she let out a scream when she saw the food. And by the way, this woman had 5 children and a husband. What I didn't know is the husband had left her 3 days before with no money, no food, and 5 kids. So I got these bags, so she screamed and she grabbed me and started pulling on my neck and like kissing me, right? And I said, no, 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 no.
We've been doing this now for 3 weeks, being in this water. But for some reason now, the water is colder than it's ever been. It's not. Our minds are fragile. We can process a day. It's hard to process 130 hours. There's no end. There's no end. So the mind starts to ramp up. So you're sitting there, it's quiet, no one's yelling at you, you hear the ocean, and you're freezing. And your mind goes spastic, starts to think, I have another 129 hours. You're not going home, you're getting yelled at, you could be frozen. So you panic, you freak out, and you want to quit. What I realized about the mind is those people who can be in that time and embrace that time and be in that moment and not allow the mind to go to 129 hours on hour 1. It's the control that we don't have in our minds. It's the control that you had to have for 3 months.
Working and keep training, keep running. At nights at 9 o'clock, I get in, because that's when action starts.
If I'm gonna die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. If I'm gonna die, you my enemy.
I'm out to break Floyd Patterson's record.
Who knocks out everybody and no one can whoop him.
Terrible problem. So imagine you, okay, so the rule is you can't offend anyone, all right? Let's say you're speaking to one person, I can't offend you. All right, fair enough. What if I'm speaking to 10 people? Do I get to offend 1 in 10? How about 1 in 100? How about 1 in 1,000? You're gonna come out on stage and you're gonna say something important about something vital, and you're not going to offend 1 person in 1,000? Well, you can't say anything about anything important ever without offending probably the person you're talking to. Important speech about important issues, especially contentious issues, is instantly offensive.
But when I went to the hospital, the people that were there, they're up there because their kids are dead too, or about to die. So, who the hell am I? Their kids are dying too. I don't know. No. It's something happened that day. I don't know what happened that day. I couldn't handle it.
I'm popular for a few days, but I wanted to do something good with it.
I took my gold medal, thought I'd invented something. I said, man, I know I'm gonna get my people freedom there. I'm the champion of the whole world, the Olympic champion. I know I can eat downtown now. And I went downtown that day, had my big old medal on and went to breakfast. At that time, black things wasn't integrated. The black folks couldn't eat downtown. The lady said, we don't serve niggas. And I had to leave that restaurant in my hometown where I went to church and served in their Christianity and fought, daddy fought in all the wars. Just wanted the gold medal and couldn't eat downtown.
I think type A people have a type B problem, and type B people have a type A problem. Insecure overachievers need to learn how to chill out and relax, and lazy people need to learn how to work harder and be disciplined. Given that you subscribe to me, I'm going to guess you're probably type A, some version of a walking anxiety disorder harnessed for productivity, as Andrew Wilkinson says. Here's the thing you may have already realized. Type A people with a type B problem get very little sympathy, because a miserable but outwardly successful person always appears to be in a much more preferential position than the content being lazy but on the verge of being bankrupt person. The problems of opportunity will always get less sympathy than ones of scarcity. One feels like a choice, the other like a limitation. One is a bourgeois luxury, the other a systemic imposition. I need someone to teach me how to be disciplined and work harder feels noble and upward aiming and charitable. I need someone to teach me how to switch off and relax feels dopaminergic and addicted and transactional and opulent. Every underdog movie ever has a training montage of someone working their life out by working harder. None included a guy learning how to log out of Slack at 6 p.m. or finally enjoy a beach holiday. So yes, Type A people may have objectively better lives, but subjectively, they're ravaged by the sense that they've never done enough. They wake up every morning feeling as if they've already fallen behind, and only if they dominate their entire day flawlessly will they have dragged themselves back up to some minimum level of acceptable output, which means they can go to sleep that night without feeling like they've wasted it. Congratulations, you might be very successful, but you might also be very miserable. Just work harder, bro, advice, reliably makes everyone more successful in the only way that they can be judged: outwardly. There are very few issues in life which can't be solved by just working harder, so everybody treats it like a panacea, not a purpose-built tool. And, on average, maybe more people do need to hear David Goggins shouting in their face to go harder, rather than Eckhart Tolle whispering in their ear that they are already enough. But, for a certain, perhaps minority cohort of people, they actually need to hear the opposite message. We need a parasympathetic Goggins. Who's going to carry the TV remote and the cigars? #rest harder than me. Type B problems are just as tough as Type A ones, but they require a much less sexy solution: peace, one that you can't achieve by just working harder.
The big picture of my life that I'm focusing on, of who I want to become going through all these things. So if I win an Olympia, how do I want to win that Olympia? Who do I want to be when I win that Olympia? How do I want to win it? How do I want to show up in my relationships? If I lose that Olympia, how do I want to lose? Who do I want to be when I lose? Who am I becoming through all these little challenges and goals along the way that aren't the big picture? Who am I becoming, which is the big picture? And I think that's so important for me to understand it. Everything that you choose to do and how you handle it is shaping who you're becoming. And at the end of the day, when you're old and have grandkids and children in your life, you're the culmination of everything you've accomplished, but also how you accomplished it and how you reacted to it. What's the big picture? Who do you want to become?
On it, and I could just kind of see the outline of it, and I see the firefighters, and I'm on my bliss. And just when I had that highest moment, one of the other kids is grabbing my chair, and I go back to turn like this to see who's doing it, and I fall head first right into the radiator, and I was bleeding, everywhere. There was a pool of blood. And my parents, the way they describe it, it was very traumatic. They said that I was never the same, and especially when it came to learning. I mean, I became painfully shy. I wasn't myself. And where it really showed up was in school, because I didn't understand things very well. And teachers would have to repeat themselves over and over and over. I became so introverted and not talking to anybody. And the big thing was also I couldn't read.